4 people. Each one starts this video with exactly $100,000. Same amount, same day, same country. By the time any of them reaches 1 million, the gap between the fastest and the slowest will be over 50 years. That is not an exaggeration for effect. It is the actual math behind 4 real strategies Canadians use with this exact starting number, and almost nobody lays all 4 side by side before choosing one. Grace is 51, in Kelowna, and she just inherited $100,000. Her instinct, like most people's, is to protect it. She parks the entire amount into a 1-year GIC at 3.6%, the best widely available rate in the country as of this year, and renews it every year without touching it. At 3.6%, compounding alone, $100,000 becomes $1 million in just under 65 years. Grace is 51. The math says she would need to live to 116 to see it happen from this account alone. This is the part almost nobody says out loud about GICs. They are not a wealth building tool, they are a wealth preservation tool, and treating them as the same thing is the single most common reason otherwise disciplined savers stay poor longer than they need to. Every dollar sitting in cash or a GIC yielding under 4% while inflation runs close to 3% is barely growing in real terms at all. It is standing still while everything it could have bought gets more expensive around it. The action for Grace, and for anyone holding a large lump sum entirely in cash, a GIC is the correct tool for money you need within 1 to 3 years. For a horizon of 10 years or more, it is actively working against you, and the fix starts with moving even a portion into growth assets before renewing the next term automatically. Marcus, 29, in Halifax, takes a different approach. He puts the same $100,000 into a low-cost, globally diversified equity ETF inside his TFSA, something like XEQT or VEQT, and then does nothing else. No new contributions. Just time and the market. The S&P/TSX Composite has averaged roughly 9.3% a year including dividends since 1960, and a globally diversified equity portfolio has historically landed in a similar range over multi-decade periods. At 9.3%, $100,000 compounds into $1 million in approximately 26 years, with zero additional contributions. Marcus does not need to save another dollar. He needs to survive at least 2 to 3 genuinely bad years along the way. The market has posted a negative return in roughly 3 years out of every 10 historically, including a 32% single-year drop in 2008, without pulling the money out in a panic, because the entire 26-year projection depends on staying invested through every one of those bad years, not just the good ones. The action for Marcus: automate the do-nothing part. Set the account to reinvest dividends automatically, turn off daily balance notifications, and treat the 26-year number as what happens by default if he simply refuses to intervene. CREA and Dev, 34 and 36, in Hamilton, take the same $100,000 and put it to work differently, as a 20% down payment on a $500,000 property. Canadian real estate has appreciated at an average annual rate of 6.3% nationally between 1990 and 2023. According to the Canadian Real Estate Association, prices moved from an average of $120,200 to $827,100 over that span. Apply 6.3% to their $500,000 property, and it crosses roughly $1.4 million in value in about 17 years, at which point, after subtracting their remaining $400,000 mortgage balance, their equity alone clears $1 million. That number doesn't even include the extra equity created every month by simply paying down the mortgage principal, which would pull the real timeline in closer to 15 years. Here is the part real estate videos usually skip. That 6.3% appreciation is a long-run national average. Some of Canada's most expensive markets have gone flat or negative for multi-year stretches in just the past 2 years, and CREA and Dev are also paying property tax, maintenance, and mortgage interest the entire time, none of which show up in the appreciation number alone. Leverage cuts both ways. The same mechanism that turns a 20% down payment into disproportionate gains on the way up turns it into disproportionate losses if their specific market underperforms the national average. The action for anyone considering this path: leverage only amplifies the underlying market's actual performance, so the research has to go into the specific city and neighborhood, not the national average. A property in a market appreciating at 3% instead of 6.3% pushes the same math out past 25 years, erasing the entire speed advantage. David, 38, in Ottawa, is running 2 engines at once. He keeps his $100,000 invested exactly like Marcus, but he and his partner also commit $2,000 a month, combined, to the same account, every month, without exception, at a slightly more conservative 8% assumed average return. That single change compresses the timeline dramatically. $100,000 growing at 8%, with an additional $24,000 a year added on top, crosses $1 million in approximately 15 to 16 years, almost a full decade faster than letting the original $100,000 sit untouched, and without taking on a single dollar of mortgage debt or leverage risk. $2,000 a month is not a small number. It is roughly what a dual-income household earning a combined $150,000 a year would need to direct toward investing after tax, after housing, after everything else, which is precisely why most Canadians don't hit this pace. The couple's combined TFSA and RRSP room, over $100,000 each and in used space by 2026 for most Canadians their age, gives them more than enough registered account room to shelter the entire contribution from tax along the way. The action for anyone who wants this timeline specifically, back into the required monthly number using a compound interest calculator before deciding it isn't possible, because most people overestimate what they'd need to contribute and quietly abandon the plan over a monthly gap that, spread across a full paycheck, is often smaller than they assumed. And then there's the version almost nobody talks about honestly, because it involves debt used on purpose. The fastest legitimate path from $100,000 to $1 million combines David's contribution discipline with a Canada-specific tax mechanism called the Smith maneuver. As a homeowner pays down their mortgage principal, they reborrow that same amount through a home equity line of credit and invest it, converting what was non-deductible mortgage interest into interest on an investment loan, which is tax-deductible in Canada as long as the borrowed money is used to earn investment income. Run the same $100,000 at 9%. Add both the $2,000 a month from cash flow and a steadily growing borrowed investment balance from the mortgage paydown, and financial planners who specialize in this strategy generally place portfolios like this in the 10 to 12 year range to reach $1 million. This is also, honestly, the riskiest block in this video. Every dollar borrowed against home equity to invest is a dollar that loses money on both sides if the market drops while the debt remains. The mortgage payment doesn't pause because the market did. This strategy is built for someone with stable income, a long-time horizon, and genuine comfort with volatility, not for someone trying to shortcut their way to the fastest number on this list. The action here is simple. This is a conversation for a fee-only advisor or accountant familiar with the Smith maneuver specifically, not a strategy to start after watching one video. The tax mechanics have to be set up correctly from the first mortgage payment, or the deductibility doesn't hold up. 65 years. 26 years. 17 years. 15 years. 10 to 12 years. Same $100,000, same country, same starting line, and the difference between the slowest and fastest realistic path is essentially an entire working lifetime. None of these 5 people did anything illegal, exotic, or lucky. Grace chose safety and got exactly what safety pays. Marcus chose patience and got exactly what patience pays. CREA and Dev chose leverage and took on exactly the risk leverage requires. David chose discipline and it moved faster than either patience or leverage alone. The fastest path simply combined discipline with a tool most Canadians have never heard of, and accepted the most risk of anyone in this video in exchange for the speed. There is no honest version of this video where 100,000 becomes 1 million in 12 months. Anyone selling that number is selling something else along with it. The real range, done legitimately, in Canada, runs from about a decade at the aggressive, higher risk end to several decades if the money is never actually put to work at all. Which of these 5 approaches is closest to what you're actually doing with your own money right now, and is it the speed you think it is? If this changed how you think about your own timeline, hit like and subscribe for more of what the numbers actually say about building wealth in Canada.